Hello MiRAA fans, this is Julie Walsh on location at Venice VR with Blake Kammerdiener, the curator of South by Southwest. Thank you so much for taking time to join me today, Blake.
Of course, happy to.
I have lots of questions for you. We're very excited to have you join our program and really want to educate our MiRAA fans about South by Southwest. What can you tell me about the festival history?
So South by Southwest was actually started in 1987 as a music industry conference and showcase. In 1994, they decided to add a film and multimedia section event to the overall to bring in. Austin, Texas, where we're located, has a really vibrant independent film community. And so they decided to kind of bring in that extra element in 94, and then a couple years later, as it all grew, they split it to the South by Southwest Film Festival, South by Southwest Interactive, which showcased all of the tech that was coming about at the time, and then of course South by Southwest Music. So then we have grown over time and added in different threads throughout to that really bridge everything together about the convergence between all tech and film and music. So then in prior to 2016, we had VR and immersive conversations spread out throughout our different tracks in the tech innovation side of things a lot, some in the film side of things, and then there started to be enough that for the 2016 event, we decided to have a VR AR section within the conference itself, a track dedicated to it. It was 3 days, and alongside that, as kind of a sidebar, we were able to build out a small room to showcase some of the companies and some of the new projects that were being built in VR at the time. That was very, very successful, so that in 2017, we launched our virtual cinema, which is our immersive showcase, that runs alongside the VR AR track, which actually for 2020 will be the XR track.
Okay, that's very exciting. I'm really happy to hear that you've been merging these different ecosystems as a topic that I'm very interested in. Can you tell me a little bit about the first incarnation of the VR exhibitions that were in 2016? Did you have a particular theme? What type of experiences were you showcasing, and how many were there?
Yeah, so in 2016, it kind of came together a little bit late, and it was a small room. It was maybe 30 by 40 feet, I think. We had maybe 6 projects / companies that were showcasing. We had Verse at the time, which has become Within. They were actually showcasing their lineup at the time, so there were several projects being shown there. We had Emblematic Group, Nani de la Peña, with a project about Planned Parenthood at the time. And then we also had a partner piece to a documentary that was playing in the Feature Festival, and then a couple of other independent projects at the time. And it was small, but like I said, very successful. It was just beyond the feedback of people being able to experience the projects, just the amount of people who actually wanted to get in was large.
Did you have sign-up sheets, or how did you deal with the number
of people? Not that year. We did lines that year, which was actually because of the placement within our week. It was Tuesday so South by runs through 2 weekends, so we go Friday through Sunday technically, the following, and then we had the VR placed on Tuesday to Thursday. So at that time, there's so much happening at South by at the same time, from music showcases and 1,000 events at a time. So we would have maybe hour-long waits or so. So it wasn't too bad considering. Although, it's still like an hour-long wait for a 5. Especially back then, there were shorter projects, so it's like 5 to 10 minute project maybe. But it was still really well received. We have a very large line culture at South by, so it's not too uncommon at that time.
Great. And then did you have a learning curve after 2016 the first time? And then how did that lead you to 2017?
Yeah, so the very first thing we thought about was the lines and how to evolve that so that people could go experience something, go to a panel, come back, experience something else. So we started with signups that next year. We moved it into, of course, a much larger space. We had a full ballroom to work with that year. And so a number of projects grew exponentially. We actually had open application process for 2017, and so the number of projects that came to us was a lot more, and we were able to kind of curate out a more succinct program for that year. I will say that going into 2017, we still have the learning curve of how many projects to showcase for the time period that we're showcasing, the 3-day time period. Because you want people to be able to see as much as possible, you want to have enough projects for everybody, and it's always hard to whittle down to make a nice little succinct, beautiful.
And how many people? How many creations?
So we had 38 that
experiences.
For 2017.
38 experiences.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that was a big jump.
And that was in a 7,500 square foot room, and it was packed solid the whole time. It was like open to close packed. It was very intense and really amazing, actually, because we work a little differently than a lot of events, and the way we had it, the creators in the projects were there running their booths themselves. So most of them, between them and their teams, and so all of these creators were in this room throughout the whole event, talking and sharing with each other, as well as with all of our guests and audience that are coming through. So it creates a really, really buzzy community inside the space, which was really nice.
And so for creators who may be listening to our podcast, so to speak, can you tell them a little bit about the application process? And I know you had told me before that you're very happy when creators can be on site with their projects.
Yeah,
Is there a stipulation about docents, or what are the requirements?
Yeah, we have. So I guess we'll go to the beginning with the application process. We have an open application. It is now open. It'll be open through October 17th. We require that you give us some sort of streaming version, whether it's a 2D playthrough or 360 video of the project. And then we also give you the option to give us a full build so that we can go ahead and put it in its appropriate headset and view it as it should be viewed. So it's that two-step process. Then once you're accepted, we work with our creators to find the optimum footprint, and they are required to provide their own docents and their own equipment to exhibit on. Then we work with them on how many headsets they're going to be bringing to optimize the space for that, between that and the number of projects we're having, so we kind of build our grids out and fluctuate our floor to really make it flow well with the projects that are accepted.
And I'm going to go back in time a little bit. So in 2017, with just 6 experiences, I'm guessing none of them were installation based. When you jumped to 2017, or were they? Did you have some installation based?
We had one.
Based?
We had
you did?
actually
Okay.
one installation based,
That's
and that was
great.
the partner program to this documentary. I do believe it was called Orange Sunshine, actually. So, and it was a full-on installation, which was really, really fun that we were able to do that in that early stage.
Amazing. Okay. And then in 2017, when you had the increased numbers, then did you have a separate section for installation?
So it was all mixed in the same room. We were fairly egalitarian about how we provided the space to 360 video and to the installation base. And we left it to each kind of creator to what that installation looked like. Of course, working with them within the parameters of what we were able to provide. Now, we did have competition that year, so we split that competition into 360 video and interactive. But the room flowed very fluidly between 360 video to installation to 360 video, and it was more sectioned out at that time kind of by project type, more in terms of subject matter, or loosely, very loosely, I say that, but that was kind of the theme as you walk through the floor.
Okay, and then just because we are here at Venice VR and they have these different categories,
Mm-hmm.
Linear and narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the other category is. Linear, narrative, and competition, and then there's the college Biennale.
And the college, yeah.
So did you break up into separate sections hosts the exhibition, or when people come in, is it an open space or are there booths?
So people come
format?
into a space with booths, but also some open flow. So it depended on the installation actually, because some installations work better in an more open format. So, but really technically it's booths. So it's a full open floor with booths around of different sizes and different kind of build outs of what it looks like. It's we have the range we like the range of everything from really like first time new creators, new people in the scene, maybe even students at the time, when they're creating, to the larger companies who have been working, heavy in the industry for a while. And so with that range comes a range of booth style and everything as far as that goes, as far as installation. Some from our basic little footprint to some larger scale build outs. That year in 2017, we had Life of Us from Within, and they had a giant projector screen in the back and speakers, and it was a show. It was fun.
And so for 2017, how many different countries, or how many artists internationally would you say that you
That's a good question. I couldn't tell you the number off the top of my head. I should probably look that up. There was a decent amount. I think it's roughly 25 to 30% or so I think we had as international. But that actually has grown significantly to this last year in 2019. We were right around 50% international, 50% domestic in the U.S.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
So maybe we can jump in time now to 2018, and then again, learning curve, anything different that happened.
Yeah.
Did you have a theme for 2018?
So no theme per se. However, we doubled the footprint of the floor. So we moved to 15,000 square feet. Then we scaled down the number of projects. We only took, I think, 27 projects, somewhere in there. And spread out a little bit more. Gave each project a little bit more space to maneuver in and play with. And it, again, with, I guess, theme, it felt very similar in terms of a large mix of 360 documentary and narrative. We had some maybe art-based pieces, interactive pieces of different types, all different types from, we had spheres that year to a really intense Meow Wolf installation with giant metal arms and everything. It was really a lot of fun.
And what about your sign-up process for those of our MiRAA fans that may want to attend?
Yeah, so for attendees, it's open to all of our badges. So it's what we call a convergence event, which means it has access for everyone who's attending with an official badge. So we have multiple tiered badge process at South by, where we have platinum badges, which give you primary access to all of our events. And then we have film, music, and interactive badges, which will give you primary access to a track of events that would following within the path of that badge, or secondary access to everything else. Now, then we have a convergence track of programming, which allows primary access to everyone. And since VR and the Immersive Arts are so everyone is kind of interested in the space. It was instantly going to be one of our convergence tracks. So so really having a badge is the first thing. Once you have a badge, you can get into the space, and you can go to each booth and sign up. Most booths do sign-ups. A couple of booths still do some lines depending on the project and how it flows. But that's kind of how it's been as far as actually viewing projects.
So is there an online sign up, or so you physically go to the space? And what are the hours usually? Are they the same?
In the past we've done 11 to 6 for 3 days. Like I said, the first year we did a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I think it was in 2018, maybe it was last year for 2019, but we've switched to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday actually as the dates for within the festival.
Okay, well, we're going to come back to badges,
okay.
But I am very curious, as I'm sure that the creators, the artists, the VR enthusiasts that tune into our program are also really interested in what's coming next. What can you tell us about the big 2019?
Well, 2019 happened. 2020 is
Okay,
what we're
yes.
working on.
2020.
Right,
okay, yes.
Yeah. So
well, tell us about 2019.
Yeah.
Still big to me.
Yeah. Well, 2019 was great. We actually moved into another larger space yet again. So we had around 10,000 people come through in 2018. So for 2019, we moved into it's roughly like a 23,000 square foot now. So we had kept it around 25 projects, and we had kind of a demo space with some other smaller places or smaller projects in development. Then around 14,000 people come through. So that's
is that total?
That's total over the 3 days
Okay.
that come through the room. So it's vibrant. It's vibrant. It was very successful this last year, so we've decided to stay in the same space. So we're going to be in that same space, and we'll see again how the a lot of times it's the projects that dictate what our program looks like. It's like what we see and as we program and how much space each project needs, and as we kind of build that out. So we'll of course shoot for roughly around that number. I found that number seems to be good for a 3-day, 25-ish for a 3-day exhibition. Seems to be pretty good. For 2020, we're seeing a lot of people kind of start working more in the AR, MR type fields and kind of blending a lot of the immersive arts together. So I'm really excited to see the projects that are coming up that are in that vein. But then again, VR is still alive and well, very vibrant, as you can see here in Venice. So a lot of just really super interesting projects coming out in that way. Volumetric capture has been taking off now with the Quest coming out. Sixth Off is easier than ever to get into the hands of both the audience and for the creators. So really kind of excited to see what happens over the next several months and what kind of projects are kind of going to be in development for first quarter next year.
And can you tell everybody what will be the dates of the exhibition?
I can.
Next
So
year?
This year, South by Southwest overall, let me see here, will be taking place from March 13th through the 21st, 22nd kind of. We have a little bit of stuff on Sunday. The VR exhibition will be taking place from the 16th through the 18th. However, for any industry and press and industry, we actually will probably be doing a half day on the 15th, Sunday the 15th this year.
On the 15th. And then can you tell our listeners, do you have any sort of panels or lecture series that people who want to go to learn more can tune into?
Of course. So as we started with in 2016, the VR AR track then has become the XR track in our conference for 2020. Our conference is really large and massive overall, and we'd like to cover so many subjects, but during the same dates, that Monday through Wednesday, we will also be having the XR track taking place in the similar location, very close. And it will be roughly 30-ish panels or so, and speakers from all over the industry kind of speaking on XR, the state of XR. We also have had a couple of really wonderful keynotes over the last few years in the XR space. We have Nani De La Pena as one of our keynotes for 2018, and then we had Jessica Brillhart was our 2019 immersive keynote.
And are the panels and lectures open to anybody who has badges, or open to the public, or how does
absolutely.
that work?
So those run just like the exhibition in terms of they're open to all of our badges in the convergence as a convergence track, but it is badge access only.
Badge access only. Okay. And lastly, I think this would be an incredible opportunity for creators to have their work showcased in your festival in the States. My question is, do the artists receive any type of funding, or what are the expectations in terms of applications?
Yeah, so, and we lay this out in our application as well as we can, and we definitely, as we invite, we go through all the process. For South by Southwest in general, we're a very DIY festival. Because of the large, massive scale of everything that we do, it's very important for each creator to kind of come in and be able to put everything they can into a project, and that actually will help catapult their project through the noise. So that's very important. And so with that, we are able to give badge access to all of the creators who come through us. So we give them and their team badge access so that they can meet and network with all the rest of the audiences that we have there and all the other industries that we have there. But that is really the best compensation that we can get.
And what type of access do they get? What type of badges do the creators get?
For the virtual cinema creators, as it is run as part of our film festival, it's a section within our film festival. They receive a filmmaker badge with access to everything that our filmmakers have.
Okay, and do you have networking events and things
All
designed
sorts,
for it?
yeah, absolutely. From networking events between the filmmakers themselves, networking events throughout the conference with meetups and different types of parties and networking events like that. And then we also have a wonderful mentor program where you can have personal one-on-one conversations with industry professionals from around the whole spectrum of the industries. And then we're going to have, of course, all of our wonderful showcases with the music and screenings for films and all of the different exhibitions across all of South by.
And can you tell everybody about the mentorship program? I think that could be something that would be really interesting to a lot of people.
The mentorship program has been very popular over the years. We program an array of industry professionals across all of our different spectrum of subjects that we cover. You're able to, in advance, actually sign up for I think it's 15-minute slot to kind of sit and chat with them. Alongside that, we also do have roundtables that are similar, that run in the same vein, where a small group of people will sit with two industry professionals where they can chat and talk for, I think it's, again, 15 minutes at a time, and then rotate through to another set of industry professionals within a one-through line subject.
That sounds very, very exciting. I think a lot of people could really benefit from that.
Absolutely.
Can you tell everybody, for people who are from other countries, that haven't been to South by Southwest before, what really distinguishes the VR presentation? What is different about South by Southwest VR presentation versus, Sundance, or other festivals that people may attend?
One of the big differences, obviously, is that we all of our different events function differently in terms of just access. So us functioning on our badge access, we keep the doors open, and so there's a very large flow of people through, and so that's a little bit different from other events. On top of that, because we are this conglomeration of events that all have different audiences, but with the Immersive Arts speaking to so many of them, the audience is actually very different. So that's one of the very, lucky things that we have at South by is the access to our audience and a different type of audience than you find at other events.
Blake, we have a lot of different types of people who tune into MiRAA, and among them are artists. Can you tell me, does South by Southwest have anything to offer them?
Absolutely. We actually, a couple years ago, launched our South by Southwest art program. This is going to be a showcase of experiential and conceptual visual arts, artworks that run the expanse of the event. So it's usually, around 9 or 10 days of the event that they'll be running. They're located in different locations around the festival, so that they are showcasing all sorts of different types of visual arts all throughout the events. It's very popular. It's been really, really well received. And they're actually taking applications through October 11th.
Okay, great. And how many projects are usually accepted?
Yeah, it's usually in the 5 to 10 range. It depends from year to year.
Okay, and then how much total space do they usually have?
Again, that will also depend on the project. As we do in the virtual cinema, we kind of try to tailor the spaces that we have and kind of make sure that the projects fit within those footprints.
And is there funding available for the projects?
It depends. It totally depends on the projects, and they can work with us on certain types of possible funding for different types of installation.
And what about in terms of your panel and lecture series? Do you have specific lectures and panels that might be interesting to artists?
Yeah, actually, and those are kind of scattered throughout. Throughout, I know this last year in the XR track, we had a great group from Denmark come and present on their kind of how the museums and the artwork is being showcased there in Denmark, which was really great. And then we have kind of a tag that they can follow along through several different tracks to look for all of that content.
So artists, you heard that. There's something for you too at South by Southwest. Well, thank you so much for your spending time with me to talk about the festival. And I think people are going to be very excited to know about it. And I'm sure those numbers are going to be increasing dramatically for the next year.